is it that rappers, entertainers, or super rich entrepreneurs know that you don't? Now, I don't care how spiritual or how religious you are. You have at least asked that question at least once in your life. They're not any more intelligent than you. A lot of times, it's not who they know. It's not even that they're more successful in having a rich family. Sometimes they may even have handicaps that you don't have. But like a comedian said, but they make us look bad when we go to the bank. These are some of the questions and challenges that I help my clients with. And I want to say to you today that if you're not successful, if you're not rich, if you don't have the desired good that you want, it is not your fault. Why would I say it's not your fault? Because you really think about it. Every religious system out there, they have a player-hater attitude about money. Every religion, what they'll tell you is in order for you to receive enlightenment, they'll tell you that you have to do something. You have, first of all, get rid of money. They'll use different Bible verses, which were misquoted, by the way, and they'll tell you that you should not even think or dream about money. And yet, the attitude in America, in terms of this, we don't fathom it. Think about it. I'm gonna ask you this question. Anybody out there who's listening to this, have you ever seen, I'm not gonna mention any names, but have you ever seen any of the rich and powerful, the famous, come to your temple, come to your church, come to your college? And if you do, and if they are there, stay there. Because if they're there, that means that they're not teaching all the other crap about money. Now, what am I saying? One day what we're going to do, we're going to take a trip to Hollywood and we're going to take a trip to those churches. We're going to take a trip and see what they teach that's different than what they teach in other churches. Because obviously, they got a memo that we did not get. And you got to remember this too, that whoever is in Hollywood, they just didn't get to Hollywood. They had to know something in order to get to Hollywood in the first place. So, another thing I want to say today, which is very, very important, is no, you don't have to sell your soul to be rich. You don't have to sell your soul to be successful. That is one of the misconceptions about money in this country, and that is the reason why we have so many of our young people out here who they much rather go out there and sell drugs, and then they go and they pay their tithes and offerings because what they understand is that there's no support in the God realm in order for them to be able to be blessed. And because of that, that is the reason why. Is there any wonder that the gangster is a favorite role model of our children? And let's face it, even us, we think the fact that if you possess money, you must have done something evil to get it. You must have some evil ritual. You must have did this, that, and the other. And trust me, even in the movies, what do they show you in the movies? The person who is rich, they had to sell their souls, or they could not get it themselves through self-empowerment. They had to steal someone else's power in order to be able to get money. Is there any wonder that we go out there and we fail when it comes down to money? Because ultimately, I'll tell you what, if you go into a lot of these convents, you go into a lot of these spiritually conscious communities, and you tell them that God has given me a vision that I'm going to make $1 billion next year, they will player hate with you. They might put you in a stretcher, say you're crazy. But if you did that same thing, you went out there into an illegal enterprise and you said that, you will get more support out there in the world than you will in the church or spiritual experience. First of all, I want to say that most of us have been mistaught about money. Most of us has been mistaught about spiritual evolution. Now I want to say this to you. How many of us have been taught that voodoo is evil? Now I want to say this to you. Now, if voodoo is so evil, why is it that in the movies you always see them talking about it? Why you see rappers rapping about voodoo, but yet it's still, now they can entertain you with voodoo, but you cannot practice it. Why is that? This is the second lie that they'll tell from the pulpit. This is part 2. Jesus wants us to suffer and be poor. Now I'm going to tell you how this bad thinking is. That's why you got so many folks that come out of the church and they go and get in the lottery line. Because they don't believe that Jesus is going to bless them. And this is how weak this is. They'll go and they'll pray to Jesus for them to hit the lottery. But they don't believe. Now, you see how I'm dressed now? I don't have to go and get in nobody's lottery line because God blessed me, because God pays the best wages. But what happens is this. There is, when God is talking about wealth, what he is talking about, he is talking about your consciousness. Everywhere in the Bible where it talks about wealth, they try to tell you that it's evil, but that's not what it was. It was trying to teach you a lesson. That rich young ruler, when he came to Jesus, and they're going to whip you with that scripture. When that rich young ruler came to Jesus, and Jesus told him to sell everything that he had, the reason why he told him that, because he realized that the materialism of this world was holding him from understanding his true God-like power. So if what would have happened, if he would have done what Jesus would have told him, he would have understood that his wealth came from inside of himself. And then what he would realize is that he could be able to manifest 3 times as much, because he would have realized the fact that it wasn't about his outside wealth. It was about as above, so below, so within, so without. So now, let's get into Jesus want us to suffer. I had one of my Christian folk call me up. And she told me that I'm going to suffer the way my Lord and Master Jesus suffered. And she thought she was going to offend me. You know what I told her? I said, well, you need to send me your money so you can keep on suffering by law of attraction, because I don't know what you need him for, because you're going to suffer anyway. Bad, messed up thinking. Huh? So, and is it any wonder that we have an issue with wealth, and particularly, and I'm not saying all, but I'm saying in this country that's supposed to be a Christian nation, is there any wonder that most of us are, I'm not going to say poor, I'm going to jinx myself, that we are broke? There's a reason why we are broke. We have a broke consciousness. In Haiti, they are spiritually rich, but materialistically bankrupt. In America, we're spiritually bankrupt, but materialistically poor. I think I got that wrong, but y'all know what I'm saying. In Haiti, they don't have the wealth, they don't have the riches, they don't ride around in Escalades in Haiti, but they're spiritually abundant. In America, we ride around our Escalades and our Rolls Royces, whatever we have. But when it comes down to being spiritual, we're spiritually bankrupt. Can I say this? Yes, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it because somebody needs to hear this. The way we believe in Christianity, not Christ in this country, it was set up to favor somebody else. It's based upon capitalism. If 30% of the people understand the truth about the Bible, and you have 70% of the people that you have convinced that they're going to get their rewards in heaven, then you ain't got to worry about that 70% when it comes down to money. You can split it up between 30%. That was done for a reason. That was done for a purpose. So when you go out there and you say you suffering for your Lord and Master, Jesus Christ, and I'm going to tell you like this, and I'm bad enough to tell you, then what you need him for? Even he came in for spiritual power, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to have power. Don't let them tell you that if you getting your behind kicked by all kind of witchcraft, all kind of black magic habits. Don't be brainwashed and fooled and say, well, this is the way my Lord and Master wanted me to suffer. No, somebody else can put that little bit on you for you to suffer. And they're going to keep on doing it until you learn and you begin to defend yourself spiritually, so you won't be able, so they won't be able to do that to you again. Jesus wants us to suffer, and Jesus do not want us to profit. That is one of the biggest lies they can tell you. If I can't go to my spiritual daddy and be blessed, who can I go to? That's the reason why you got these young people going out here selling drugs and all that kind of stuff, and then go into church and pray and pay their tithes. This will happen. It is the truth. If you go out there and you sell drugs, and you go out there and you tithe your money to the church, God will bless your business. I know somebody going to get upset when I just said that. But principle is principle. Because if you use the principles of understanding, if you give something and then you circulate it back, it's going to come back to you, because now you are a steward. I wish somebody would hear what I'm saying to you. Jesus did not come for you to suffer. He came for you to live life and live life more abundantly. And that don't mean just spiritual abundance. Material abundance is just the fruits of the way you think your spiritual abundance. But the reason why a lot of us cannot do this is because we're spiritually broke. Spiritually bankrupt. Bad religion is bad for your health and it's bad for your wealth. They'll tell you that, but they don't believe it. One of those comedians, y'all know who I'm going to talk about, I'm not going to say his name. He'll tell you that they're always talking about a building fund and not even a doorknob going to change in the church. That's the game they play. They know they need money, but because they done told you, they done whipped you because of the guilt of having money, they got to come up with a game so that they can get the money for you. Somebody has to do it, and now we come to the unnecessary, filthy part of this move, of the service, when we got to be able to give, when we got to collect money. And you expect money to come to you. As a matter of fact, if you're in a temple, you're in a church where they're preaching that, do not walk out, run out. It's worse than COVID. This is the third line in our series, that voodoo is evil. Voodoo is not evil. As a matter of fact, as most voodooists consider themselves to be Catholic. In Haiti, they'll tell you that Haiti is 90% Catholic and 100% voodoo. And now, I know what we say, in God we trust in America, but let's go through some of this so we can understand certain things. Now, if you look at Hollywood, and I'm not going to name particulars. If you want to know particulars, you definitely want to click below for Miss Lynn, so you can find out who the particulars are. But what I will do is I would say, if you understand the rap game, you understand Hollywood, I'm going to say certain things, and then you're going to really understand what I'm saying to you, and you will remember the record that or the CD, so you know exactly who I'm going to refer to. Now, what we don't get is this. When these rappers and entertainers, when they be shouting out, they shouting out to their spiritual workers, and you don't even know. Huh? A Jamaican gentleman, I'm going to say that. He used to call out to Mama. Every time when he was up there, and when he said mama, mama wasn't his mama, his natural mama. Mama was his spiritual worker. I'm not going to say which rapper, because I won't put nobody out there, but somebody said pump up the Hummer for. A Hummer for is a Haitian temple. Huh? Somebody else in the rap game, they came out wearing the all white, having the all white party. If you go into the African-based religion and you wear all white, we know what all white means. You've been initiated. You've gone through certain things. So I'm not going into all of it, but they all have their different secrets and codes that they acknowledge who and what, and they do it all out in the open. And you don't know why they do it. Now I'm going to tell you something else. They talk about in the African-based religion, we make animal sacrifices. Now, in another religion, they do animal sacrifices. I'm not going to tell you the religion, but what they're going to tell you is you must eat kosher. And because what they will do, they will actually bring in special priests to make sure that that animal is prepared so that that animal is kosher. What is the difference? What they know is this. Why would they always try to program you and tell you that voodoo is evil? They'll tell you that it's evil, they'll program it to you. I'm going to tell you what they would do. They'll program it to you so when you do encounter the truth, you've been taught to deny the truth. So you don't even know if it's good or bad. I'm going to say this. I don't believe in Satan, but I'm going to tell you what I will do. I'll go to Satan's house and sit down and listen to what he has to say. After I hear what he has to say, I would say, well, I heard your side of it. It's not for me very much, but I respect your side of it, and I'm going back to my business. But you have them so scared, they don't even want to hear about the voodoo. You got to ask yourself a question. Out of all the religions in the world where everybody's allowed to practice it, why when it comes to the voodoo, they don't want you to practice it? Well, if you understand where the principles came from, and by the way, voodoo is just the second cousin of Egypt. In Egypt, they call it Heku. Heku. That was what the magical system was called, not Hekut. I ain't gonna go into that right now. But Heku is what they practiced in Egypt to empower themselves with the power of that particular god or goddess. That's why I say I have no problem with the Bible, because the principles are the principles no matter what. Do not throw the baby out with the bathwater because people did certain evil things in the name of the master of death, Jesus. Let me tell you like this. No matter who you are, no matter what's going on, if you are here to empower the people, somebody's going to take what you're saying, somebody's going to do it to me. I can teach you the truth. You're going to turn that truth around and be able to practice it in another way to enslave somebody else. Has nothing to do with the principles, because guess what? Hello, can I say something to you? Where did the chosen people come out of? They came out of Egypt. Whoa. Now Egypt, where they're practicing all this magic and all this kind of stuff, they came out of Egypt. Now watch this. In the place where it's supposed to be evil, the chosen people go and Moses had to validate himself by beating the baddest magicians on the planet. He takes his staff, he does his magic, he put his staff down, and all of a sudden it turns into a snake. Pharaoh looked at him and laughed and said, my magician can do the same thing. But because his snake ate up the other snake, his people, the chosen people, their magic was more powerful than anybody else's magic. And that's why Pharaoh said, let my people go. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. I still know my Bible. Acts 7:22 said that Moses was initiated into the Egyptian mystery system. So that means that everything that Moses taught them was Egyptian. Just because he went out there in the wilderness and came out with teaching them, guess what? The majority of his life, everything he learned from the best magicians in the Egyptian mystery schools. And by the way, when I was in seminary, they told me that what happened with the Egyptians, that was pagan, and that was when evil was in the world. So I had to turn around and I had to say to them, wait a minute, didn't you teach me that Jesus is the same today, yesterday, and forevermore? So how is you going to tell me that these pyramids were built and that Jesus was nowhere in that? That these people who were inspired to build those great pyramids, that they didn't have no type of divine inspiration? You choose. Are you going to believe what they tell you about being evil? Because guess what? I'm going to tell you like this. This is next. I'm going to give you a little bit of the next TikTok so you can get it. It's going to be either God's pimp or the devil's heart. And I'm saying this not in a negative way because, because guess what? God owns all real estate. So if you're going to be an owner, you're going to be like God. If you're going to be the hurt, I mean, you're going through your life getting kicked, your butt getting kicked all the time by the devil because you don't want to know the truth. Because I'm going to teach you the true truth so you can gain the power. I understand I'm going up against psychological warfare. All your life you've been taught certain misconceptions about money and about voodoo and about all the things of the truth. Matter of fact, they say it's evil, you need to run to it as opposed to running from it. Mom and daddy loves you, love me, but guess what? They didn't know any better. What did mom and dad teach us about money? Money don't grow on trees. You ain't no Rockefeller. You wasn't born with your silver spoon in your mouth. But let me tell you something. Money does grow on trees. It grows on astral trees. When you know the truth. And when you awaken to yourself to be God and goddess, you understand how to create. Guess what? You're going to realize that there's no evil in self-empowerment. There's no evil in self-development. As a matter of fact, there's people out there that's counting on the fact that you won't act on this message. Because guess what they realize? If you don't act on this message, you're going to keep on being the devil's hoe. I didn't want to go with that this time, but I'm going to tell you. So you got to awaken up to your own God power. So when I mean pimp, I don't mean in the negative way they call it. I'm talking as in a master. Either you're going to be in a mastership or you're going to be in a slave ship. You got to make up your mind, draw the line, and then you're going to have to draw your line on your friends too.